So I wanted to give you a brief update on the backyard prairie garden. We live in town, but we abut this green space here. It's a really nice way to bring in extra wildlife, benefit the birds and pollinators. So here I put in some Muhlenbergia. This is the one with the purple haze, the purple inflorescence or seed heads. There's Panicum virgatum there. Got a cluster of that. I got a couple of redbud trees and Mexican plum just because I love those, and it gives the birds a place to perch. And it also is deciduous, so it gets the ground and the plants are going to get full sun during the winter, but it casts light shade, so it's not going to affect the growth of these grasses too much. I've got some Sorghustrum nutans here, Tridens flavus, which is purple top, I believe. And then I just divided my Aniscanthus quadrifatus, I think firecracker plant or hummingbird plant. Anyway, so that's going to grow up. It's going to get real bushy here. I recently put in some more little blue stem and burned. Basically what I'm doing is I'm just putting up this like natural barrier to the St. Augustine and Bermuda coming in. And over here I've got a mixture of Muhlenbergia lindheimeri and little blue stem. And then over there I've got Panicum amarum. And these are all grasses collected on development sites where these plants are about to get taken out prior to construction. And so these are being put to good use, not wasted, benefiting wildlife, pollinators, birds. Here, these grow really well. This is late Bonset or fall Bonset. Got a cluster here that volunteered. I transplanted these, and I've got a big cluster over here. So basically what I'm doing, right, the problem is, and a couple of Maximilians right here. The problem is the Bermuda and the St. Augustine is going to want to come back. So what I'm going to do is a two-part, well, really three-part, but let's call it two-part intervention process. I've mulched it so that this soil is going to retain more moisture during the summer, which is going to benefit the native grasses as they've been transplanted. They need time for their root system to grow down and get deep so they can be self-sustaining without additional watering in this Texas summer. And I'm adding all of these propagules, right? Propagule is just plant material, genetic material for a plant that I'm introducing. So in this case, it'd be native grasses, native forbs, native woodies. And on top of adding desirable plants, I'm going to be removing undesirable plants as they come up. So I've reduced the competition for these native grasses to let them get established by adding mulch and adding a lot of clumped native grasses. So hopefully the soil chemistry benefits the neighboring plants, and the combination of the root system and hopefully any kind of competition going on in the soil will reduce the Bermuda grass and the St. Augustine. But I'm also going to come in here by hand and with a little bit of a hoe and just remove clumps of St. Augustine and Bermuda as they pop up. So just a little bit of work every couple of days, coming out and spending 10 minutes just hacking out some chunks. And the idea here is just over the course of the next 2 years to build up this back space. And it's not really beautiful at the moment because there's no border and it's nice to define a space, but this this project is going to take off as the native plants start succeeding and developing, getting established, and as the non-native invasive plants are held back. So, stay tuned to this Backyard Prairie Garden series, and hopefully this motivates you to do some native gardening, to use your space not just for playing catch in the backyard or barbecuing, but using a space that you can enjoy for native wildlife. And also know that you're benefiting our water consumption. You're reducing water consumption, which is going to be a huge problem as time goes on. And I mean, we see that happening in places like Nevada, other dry places where water has to be imported in. And that's going to be the reality for other places as water continues to get used at exponential rates. So native gardening like this, where grass grows out on the side of roads and out in old fields, this is the way to go. Like, if you want a native grass as a, you know, as a ornamental, this can be used as an ornamental. Here, this is going to get real bushy. It's a bunch grass, so it bunches up, and it comes up about 3 to 5 feet high, and it's got these beautiful seed heads that come off. It's got a nice golden brown tinge in the fall, and it provides seeds to birds throughout the winter. So yeah, consider using, you know, a fourth of your backyard or half of your backyard for this kind of garden. I'm sure you can find space for something, even if it's just 10 feet by 10 feet. This will benefit native wildlife, because pollinators rely on some of these grasses as host plants, and they also use the base of these grasses for hibernation and just for sleeping during the day or night, whichever kind of cycle they're on. And what's another thing? Oh yeah, we have backyard chickens. And so these grasses, believe it or not, just a patch like this is going to bring in a lot of grasshoppers. And I know in Texas that probably scares somebody, thinking, oh my gosh, I don't want grasshoppers. Don't they eat up all your plants? Well, yes and no. Grasshoppers feed on the grasses. You know, that's where they get their food from. But in turn, bringing in grasshoppers is an excellent source of protein and nutrients for your chickens. So if you do backyard chickens and you create a little prairie garden, this helps out with backyard chickens in a big way. One, it's going to provide shade during the hot summer when these grasses grow up. It's going to provide some cover from those owls and those hawks and things that might be out in the morning or the evening that might want to snatch up one of your chickens. So it gives them a place to hide. And it's you know, it's just beautiful. Adding these grasses doesn't take away forage space for the chickens. It enhances their forage space. You can see they go out through here and they dig and they dig, and they find insects that are attracted to the grasses. So, you know, yes, you're going to have insects and grubs and beetles and things like that in your St. Augustine, in your Bermuda grass, but you're going to get far more insects that are moving through, you know, just the whole column of these grasses, and the chickens are going to peck those out. So native gardening is good for you on many, many levels. Stay tuned for more updates on this garden so you can get inspired to do some native prairie gardens in your backyard.